Um, Today I will be talking about the Astroworld tragedy that has just taken place. Um, if you haven't seen it, I think over the weekend, it was within the last couple of days, 8 young people lost their lives in Houston at the Astroworld Festival. Um, and it said a lot more people were injured. Um, the ages were between 10 and 23, which is heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. These young people, they had their whole lives ahead of them. My question is, why were there children there, in these environments? Um, it's more than likely that the children have said to their parents, um, they've said, "I love Travis Scott. I want to go see him." I want to go see him, and they've done what good parents would do. They've said, "Okay, we can do that." But if they'd done any research at all, you know, you know what a Travis Scott concert is like. You know, it's off the hinges. Um, right. So yeah. So I think 8 have been confirmed to have died from cardiac arrest. So initially, when they said, "Oh, it's the stampede, cardiac arrest bits," but then there's also been other other things floating around, like fentanyl laced pills, like ecstasy pills. You will find drugs at any festival you go to. That is part and parcel of it, but it doesn't really fit with the age range. You know, and someone else said there was someone going around injecting people with drugs, which is, highly unlikely, unless the person is absolutely insane. As drugs cost money, and there's no reason to do it. In Travis Scott's Netflix series, in his special, "Look, Mum, I Can Fly," you're seeing these kids getting taken out on stretchers unconscious. Whether it's just from too much heat or drugs or poor crowd control, because you can see Travis Scott, telling security they need help trying to get the EMTs in, and just basically trying to do his best, because he's on a stage. He's got his job to do, and when he's in that mode, he could be completely oblivious to anything else that's going on around him. Apparently, I'm not too sure who was in charge of being able to shut down the show. He's said something like the executive producer and the organizer. So I don't know whether he would have been the executive producer on it, but I don't think that's likely. He had a job. It was being live streamed. Kids were telling him to stop, but if every festival stopped because people were shouting stop, he could obviously see that people were in distress. But yeah, it's just it's just a really tough thing. You know, and rest in peace to all the people that lost their lives. Following on from the opiate-laced pills theory, in England, at festivals, you know, especially in the summer, we have these like drug testing stations. So if you go to the festivals and you take your drugs or you buy some drugs, you would go to one of these tents and you would give them, you know, a pill or, you know, some of your cocaine, and they will test them and they will test the purity and they can tell you what's in them. And these stations, they save lives. Because if these kids are going to these festivals to let their hair down and do what young people do, why shouldn't they be able to do it safely? And I think this should be rolled out absolutely everywhere. Because unfortunately, every festival that goes on, after the weekend is finished, you always see tragedy strikes, 18-year-old person has lost their life, or multiple people from ODing because they don't know what's in the pills, because pills can be absolutely anything. It can be rat poison, you know, it can be sleeping pills, it can be brick dust. You know, my advice to you is to stay away from them. But it just gives people the opportunity, if they are going to do it, which many will and will continue to do, it just gives them a chance to do them safely without fear of reprise or, you know, being kicked out of the event or arrested or anything like that. And it saves so much time for the EMTs, you know, the emergency response, that they want to be helping people that are actually having, you know, medical emergencies, you know, natural medical emergencies. Right, so moving on, I saw something on TikTok and Instagram yesterday. It was an ex-manager of Travis Scott's. I think his name was Sean, excuse me, Sean Morris. And this was from about 9 years ago, but basically he was saying, I saw this coming, and he was trashing Travis Scott. And that's all well and done. And the guy, he had grills, and he comes across, you know, quite nice, but I think he came across a little bit bitter to, you know, to see how far Travis Scott had come. And you know, he obviously hasn't been financially rewarded or well enough in his perspective. But that's something. That's something that I can only speculate on. But Travis's response on Instagram was, you could see he was rubbing his face. He was physically tired, like exhausted. So I don't think he's had much sleep, and he's been. He probably hasn't slept at all. He's probably doing things, trying to piece together the puzzle and trying to help the emergency services figure out exactly what happened. But he has said he will give up the money that he was expected to be paid, and that he will also cover the costs of the funerals for all those who unfortunately passed away. Which is incredibly sad, and in hindsight it's always unavoidable, but I think it's just something we'll just have to wait and just see and play out in due course. So don't be so quick to jump on the cancel culture wagon. Like I was saying a second ago, his ex-manager, he said that, you know, Travis Scott is a really trashy guy and he left me for dead when I had a seizure in a basement in LA. But that was like 10 years ago. You know, he's a father now. He was a kid then. You know, people mature, people make mistakes, and I could be completely wrong, but that's just my look on it. Um, I'm a big Travis Scott fan, and another thing I saw was a lot of people were saying, you know, um, the satanic rituals and the symbolism, the upside down crosses, and there's so much. But if I think realistically, if you look into that, then you know it's just like Illuminati. You know, this number connects with that, and you know, if you look at this upside down, and look at that cloud, it's a demon, and you know. Travis Scott works with artist David LaChapelle, and his job is to make things visually exciting. And what is more visually exciting than looking at something that is, you know, highly unusual, very, you know, it expresses emotions in people. If you went to one of Travis Scott's shows and it was all, you know, like Takeshi Murakami, like smiling neon flowers, you wouldn't have the same experience. So yeah, that's my view on it, and I just hope that, you know, they can all work together to avoid things like this ever happening again. Um, I think the gate crashers need to really be held to account, because that's why they have that's why they have capacity numbers at these events. You know, if the capacity is 50,000 and you've got, you know, 10,000 people that have gate crashed, then of course there will be a higher percentage chance that people will be injured. But it's not 100% that, because the gate crashers, they could have been perfectly well behaved. It could have been the people that bought their tickets and, you know, just gone there to rage. But I think it's just a freak accident, because people go to these festivals with the best intentions, you know, to have a good time. And generally, if people have fallen over or if they need help, people are good. If they can help you, they will. But my advice I don't think the Astroworld will be back. But for future festivals, just do your research. When I used to go to festivals, I used to stand on the outside, like pretty much right on the wing, like in the middle. I wouldn't go to the front. So if people did start pushing and shoving, and I like to have my own space. I don't like to be, you know, squashed in like a sardine. But there are people that want to get right up, you know, to see the artist's face, you know, almost face to face, so they can feel the sweat, you know, flowing off them. I don't know. It's just yeah, it's a real damn shame. Um, yeah, my thoughts are with the people of Houston and the people, you know, the security and everyone that's had to deal with this. Yeah, you just need to learn from it. All right. Well, that's my views on it, and I'll give you guys updates if anything comes out. But I think it's going to be a long process. Right. Have a good day, everyone. Bye. Scott out.